ultimately your life doesn't change, and what you actually end up losing is the thing that you love the most, which is your business, after your children and family, of course. So just be really mindful of that when you go through an M&A to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Right, you talk to a founder with a $300 million business on a Monday morning. He goes, well, I was talking to my sister's wife's auntie's sister-in-law on the weekend and she said I should list. Okay, that's a really solid link, great piece of evidence.
Hi, this is Andre from Verity Consulting. Thank you for clicking on the link to watch this video around our Uncommon Lunch number 6. It's filmed in a 3-part section, and in this second video, you'll see me asking the panelists about some of the common mistakes they see businesses and business owners make that are common around the industries that they operate in, and also common around Australia and other parts of the world. They'll also throw in a couple of tips of what you can do to actually overcome some of these common mistakes. I hope you enjoyed the video.
So the question originally was, what's sort of the state of play, or what are you seeing out there at the moment? And one of the things that have come out from all three of you was the amount of mistakes that are being made. And I'm changing the wording slightly because this is a segue into the next question. But so is it me as the founder, or is it the market, et cetera, right? Alboz, from your perspective, if you look back, what are some of the common mistakes that you're either seeing out there at the moment, because you're seeing a lot of businesses do different things, and because you turn up for events like these, and also you've grown a number of businesses in the past. I'm sure you've made some along the way as well. So what are some of the common mistakes that are out there at the moment?
Oh, mate, I think I've made every mistake known to mankind, to be honest with you. I mean, you're right, I have started 18 businesses, and realistically, only one of them was really successful. So you can sort of imagine what the other ones were like. So like, I've learned a lot along the way in that process, but I think the most common mistake that I've personally made is actually something you said, which is keeping employees that are there because they've always been there rather than that they need to be there. But again, it comes back to the issue of not being able to find a replacement. So that's always a thing. Look, when I sold my last business, we were, I reckon, 4 to 5 weeks away from a listing, and in retrospect, we should have listed. And when I look back at that right now, I kind of go, I took what the advisors said, and we did the opposite of what your dad went through, I think.
So are you saying, so is this controversial? Are you saying there was Friday Capital who told you that?
No. I'm just saying the advisors that advised his dad back in the day to list told us not to list. And if you look at my last business, which was Car Advice, it was the second largest automotive sort of website in Australia, and we were going up against Car Sales, which is now a $5 billion company. And to sell that for 62 when it had so much potential to get so much further with some basic realignments. But, you know, at the time I was broke. So I think taking a paycheck that was quite substantial was a lot easier than risking a listing and then waiting God knows how long to be able to get some of that out. But I'm not making the same mistake twice. So,
yeah, well, this isn't a setup. But we have had this conversation on the side earlier, but we both had very different experiences in what we've seen in our lives, where I had the experience watching, my father listen and trust his advisors who were giving him advice that was only in their interest. So what I took away from that, and the question that might sound silly that we ask every one of our prospective clients when we first sit down with them is, what's your objective? It's what do you want to achieve out of this? And I can tell you that value is only one of those things. So we, unfortunately for some of my staff, they've gotten used to me doing this, but the amount of time we talk ourselves out of fees is probably more than we talk ourselves into fees. We talk ourselves out of more engagements that people want to give us than we actually take on. And that's because people come to us and ask the question around, I want to sell a business, or I want to raise capital, or because someone else is telling them that that's what they need to do, and they think that's in their best interests, or they think that's the next best or the next step in their evolution, when often it's not. So, one of my biggest recommendations for people is, think about what you want, stick to that, find someone you trust, and listen to them. If the advisor you've got on your team, if you don't trust them, they don't belong on your team. It's the same story with employees. If if you don't trust, sorry, I just realized I need to keep putting this microphone closer. So apologies to all the people down the back who probably haven't been able
Okay, we'll
to
start
hear
again.
me.
So the reason why we do Uncommon Lunch,
It's, whether you're a business owner and you're selecting a manager, you need to trust those people. Advisors are the same. Advisors, the way I look at it is most of our clients are trusting us with the single most valuable asset other than their children or their family, single most valuable asset they have. And most people only do this once. Our boss is a bit different. He's well into his second or 18th. But for us, most of the time, this is a one-shot opportunity for these business owners. So we have to respect that, and we have to respect what they want to get out of it. And I've had some great conversations and made some great friends with people who never became clients because I talked them out of it. And maybe one day they will become a client. But again, my biggest piece of advice, always have your objectives set and make sure your advisor works to that. Don't let them tell you what you should be doing if it's in conflict with those objectives.
Sorry to butt in there, but I think one thing I wanted to say is I think the mistake that I can personally speak of going by your advice is the concept that a lot of people have that have a small, medium business like I have in the past is that getting this big paycheck will somehow change your life. Yeah. And the answer is it fucking won't. It really won't. I mean, it's nice, but ultimately,
sorry, it's changing.
Ultimately, your life doesn't change, and what you actually end up losing is the thing that you love the most, which is your business, after your children and family, of course. So just be really mindful of that when you go through an M&A to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, no, I'm now seeing my father's onto his third business. So we did that listing. He exited 2 years later, unhappy, built another one, sold that, built his third business. He's now saying, I'm never going to sell this. This is, my father's the kind of individual that will never retire. He'll die in that seat in his office. But at the same time, he's doing what he loves. And that's important. That's probably more important than any dollar you can put in a bank account. So, I think...
Enjoy the journey, I think is what you're saying, isn't it?
Exactly.
You coach people through mistakes, right? So you must see a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting when you guys were talking about that, I'm thinking about something that I talk to our clients about, which is intentionality, right? You talk to a founder with a $300 million business on a Monday morning. He goes, well, I was talking to my sister's wife's auntie's sister-in-law on the weekend, and she said I should list. Okay, that's a really solid link, great piece of evidence. Why don't we do that? And so you sort of go, okay, well, let's talk about where this comes from. Like why, well, I need to do something. Okay, well, why did you start the business? Well, I started the business for X. Okay, where are you at now? All right, well, secretly I'm bored. Oh, okay, good. Well, why don't we tell any, prospective buyers that you're bored? Because that's a good way of selling a business as well. So one of the first things we do is we sort of get clear about the intentionality, because everybody's got this dream. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take the check. I'm going to go sit on the beach and drink margaritas for 30 years. Oh, so you're going to move from 80-hour weeks on a business that you love to doing absolutely nothing for the next 30 years. Yeah? Let me tell you as a social psychologist how that ends up, right? So we sort of just keep peeling it back until you get to the intentionality, which is, well, actually, I do love the business, but I don't like doing this stuff here. Okay, so it's not the business that you're bored of, it's this stuff here. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we don't need to sell the business. Maybe you just stop doing this bit. Yeah, we could do that.
So simple, right?
And you just need somebody to say, listen, as much as I respect your sister's auntie's sister-in-law's friend, maybe she's not the best person to take M&A advice from.
That's gold, mate. I think you've either picked up a lot of customers out of this, or a lot of them are going to be running away from you with your approach, which is endearing.